Let me bang. I do let you bang. Hey, let me bang you, Kayla, man. I let you bang. I let you bang. Greetings, marriage and virgins.
Go for Jesus. No forget Jesus, people.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Hey, welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter. I'm here with Sean McCorkle, who's looking great. You're looking great, man. Good for you.
I don't know about that.
Nah, man, you look like you continue to lose weight, man. Personally, I'm in Las Vegas, and a couple days ago, I woke up with like a really sore throat. And you ever I thought it was just phlegm. Like I was like, oh, it's just phlegm. So, and then all of a sudden, like my throat started killing me, like the bottom of it. So I looked up like what that little thing is dangling in the back of your tongue. You know that it's called like a U-valve or something. So
I think it's called Bruce Buffer's balls, but I don't know.
Yeah, it was Bruce Buffer's balls were at the back of my tongue.
Right, back of your throat, right?
So I was like, I looked it up, and they're like, "Well, what color is it?" I go, and it looked white. So now I think I either have strep throat, mono, or something else. So now I'm
usually, usually it's strep when it's white because those are like white blisters. I'm a strep carrier, whatever that means, but I got strep throat like 7 times 1 year when I was a kid, and they kept thinking I was faking, like trying to get out of school. Like they were asking if I was being molested or just weird stuff. Like, is everything okay at home? Everything okay at school? I'm like, well, I'm getting molested, but that's not why my throat is sore. But no, they kept like thinking I was faking, trying to get out of school, and I wasn't a faker, man. I'm not a liar. Like, and they finally did some kind of, because they were like, no one can get strep throat that many times a year. They did some kind of blood test. Said, oh wait, you're a strep carrier, meaning I can have it without it showing positive or something like that. I don't know. It's a weird.
It feels like a big. Now I got like a big circle on the back of my tongue. Like it's gonna come out at any time. It doesn't come out. So now I have to go to urgent care. And of course, like I don't want to talk, and I hate not working out for my shows because I feel like I'm gonna bomb. I'm gonna have too much energy. I'm gonna talk too fast. So I'm like, I don't want to work out because I think I have strep throat. And then of course they booked this feature who's a funny guy, but he's like beyond like loud and like energetic and like, you know, talking about it, you know, it's dirty. I'm like, I gotta follow this shit, like, which is fine, but I'm like, not with strep throat, but I'm like, fuck it. Right. Still got a standing ovation, so that was good. But man, my fucking throat is killing me. And I'm just, and then of course I got to audition for Quantum Leap. They're bringing back Quantum Leap, so I had to have my acting coach. I had to have my acting coach call in and do that, which was good. But so I'm gonna go to urgent care after this, which is a pain in the ass. And then this comedian, or this fighter, wanted to do comedy, so I gave him a spot on the show. O'Day Osborne, he was great last night. He's like, I think black people are just funnier. Like his first time ever doing comedy, and he fucking killed. Like first time ever. I gave him in front of 300 people, and he fucking murdered, which was awesome. Good for him. Nice guy.
What about Brendan Schaub's not black? Might have helped him out.
Didn't Kimbo think he was black? Remember? Didn't Kimbo?
Yeah. The best was Schaub always talked about everybody being a hater, but the first thing he said when Kimbo walks in the training center is F that dude. Like he didn't know him, didn't know anything about him. He just couldn't stand that Kimbo was more famous than him, like coming into the house. But Kimbo allegedly was the greatest guy ever from everybody I've ever talked to that knew him. They said he was like the nicest dude ever, other than his propensity to street or knife fight or things like that. But other than that, that was like, I think one of my favorite seasons was that season. Cause I was thinking about that season. Cause I remember when Dana White was like, Roy Nelson really impressed himself this year. Right.
I just thought that was, and then Roy Nelson thought when they announced that they had a special guest, it was going to be him. But he was already there. Right.
The best was that I had just started training with Mitch Rowan during that time. The show was already filmed. And so I'm hanging out with Mitch Rowan in the gym, and everybody's like, he's a fucking prick, isn't he? I'm like, I don't know what you mean. He seemed nice enough to me. Turns out they were right. But no, No, he's on the show every week. So I started watching because I hadn't been watching it. So I started watching the show, and it's like Matt on TV versus Matt in real life. It was so different. I was like cracking up.
Yeah.
And then I found out he wasn't even watching it. Like Matt, after the second episode, he realized where they were going with it, that he was going to be the villain, So he stopped watching it. I was like, "You're not even watching the show you're on TV?" He goes, "No, I can't stand to watch it, man." Like I loved it. It was so funny.
It happened to me on Last Comic Standing. They wouldn't put me on the show. They would, like 4 years in a row. They told me, "You're going to Hollywood." And then I'm like crying and calling my family. And then they're emailing me like, you're off the show. I'm like, but you said I was on the show and I got through the round and the judges congratulated me and you videotaped me crying and calling my family. They're like, well, you signed a contract saying, even though we say you're on the show, you're not on the show anymore. So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to be a villain. I'm going to be a villain. That's the only way they're going to get me on. So I go on there and I'm like, I'm the best comic in the world. I'm better than everybody here. Cause I was watching a lot of Ultimate Fighter. I'm like, so then they put me right through, but I also had good stuff. But then I'm like, great, now I'm going to be known as the fucking biggest asshole on TV. So then every time they interviewed me, I would be like, talk about how I worked with kids who had cancer, no matter what the problem was. Cause I'm like, they can't edit that. They're like, oh, why do you hate this guy? I'm like, oh, this seems like a nice guy. By the way, did I tell you how I worked at the Ronald McDonald House for kids that have cancer? That's all I kept talking about was working with kids. So then eventually they stopped interviewing me. They stopped getting me food. Like they got so mad that I was doing that, and then they took me out of the whole show. Like literally,
they really hate people that help kids with cancer. Apparently, that's weird. You remember Drake Sather, I assume, right? That old comedian.
Yeah.
I saw a joke of his the other day out of nowhere on TV or on YouTube, and he said they're raising money for the Ronald McDonald's house, and he said, "How big a house does this clown need?" I loved it. It was really funny.
That's hilarious.
He said some funny stuff. He died. I don't know from what, but he died of I guess prematurely anyway. But he was funny, man. He said some funny shit. I was
thinking about a joke the other day. I heard that I remember, back on like the subway. He's like always these like huge black dudes. He'd be like, "Hey man, you got money from my basketball team?" And they try to sell you M&Ms for the basketball team.
Right.
And the comic was like, "Man, that guy's like 20. Like, what does he play for the Knicks?" And he's like, "How bad are the Knicks doing where they got to sell fucking candy?"
Yeah, they used to always do that. Like you have kids that were supposedly doing a fundraiser for their basketball team, but they really were like 19 or 20 years old. Like, dude, you're in Cub Scouts still? Like, what's going on? Like, they always had some scam going.
I took my kid to a WNBA game. I got free tickets to go see WNBA. I'd never been to the game before.
And you still overpaid.
Dude, it was so much fun. Like WNBA it's so different than NBA because they have
there's no skill involved at all.
Well, that's the thing. It's like there was a lot of misses and like missed layups and stuff. I think a lot of those girls, they were amazing in college and high school because they were playing with people. Every one of those girls was a star, but for some reason, when they all get together, they don't look that good. I don't know, maybe because they're playing people their level, but they I remember because if you look at each one of those girls, you look at like play for UConn or this or UCLA, and I'm sure they murdered in high school and college, but dude, the team was down. But it was funny. They said when we got there was a sign on the seat saying no booing. Like, that's how nice. Oh, like, listen, like no booing. Dude, the LA Sparks were down by 35 points at the half and against Chicago Sky. And people were cheering for them. Like any other event, like as they were walking back, everyone's like, yay. I'm like, this would not happen at any other event, And then
I'm surprised the women's team could score 35 points. That's what surprises me. I can't believe somebody could even be up.
I wanted my daughter to come see this because she was like, "Oh, there are girls playing." She was so excited to see girls play. But then they had it was very gay friendly. Like they were giving out sunglasses for Pride and this and that. But they had it was almost like a talent show. Like every time it was a timeout, they had more and more dancers would come, and some were really good. But then they had the queer, they were called the queer salsa team. Like they literally.
Wow. All salsa is pretty gay, so those must be the best of the best.
It was I think it was called Cha-Cha Queer or something. It was a girl, and I think it was a guy. I'm not sure. It was a guy. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, but and then they had I don't know if it was an open mic or something, but they had the women's Zumba teachers of LA. They weren't even dude, and And then they had a rapper that I think was lesbian. I'm pretty sure it was a lesbian. It was hilarious, dude. It was
sounds like they were getting ready to film America's Got Talent. If only they could have gotten rid of the women basketball players.
It was like,
right? Because they don't have any talent.
I'm a fan of the LA, so I had so much fun there.
Yeah.
It was almost like a party. It was like a gay party with a basketball game in the middle of it. Nobody cared that they were down by 40 points. Like nobody cared. I mean, I
bet there were a lot of dunks though.
There were no dunks. I mean,
no?
That's shocking. A part of me thinks they should lower the hoop so the girls can on each other. But then you got to lower all the hoops, right? Around every basketball court, you'd have to lower the hoops, right?
I wasn't that impressed with women's basketball. When I was 14 years old, I played against the number one girl. But I was in 8th grade, and she was the number one girl in the state. I was a senior, and I dominated her. It wasn't even close, and she was like 6'6", and I was like 6 foot tall. And so then I realized how bad women were at basketball. Like if I'm as a 14-year-old dominating the best player in the state who's 17 or 18, it's pretty bad. So.
You were also a Division I basketball player, though.
Yeah, well, not at that rate or at that point, though. I was, I don't know. I didn't get real good at basketball until I got about 16, 17. I started getting really, really good.
So did you watch the fights last week?
No, I looked at the card and saw that I literally recognized 2 names on the entire card. I had not even heard of anybody else on the card. Like never heard the name. And I was like, I can't even reward them with my time for something like that.
It was actually a good card. This guy Gamrot and Sarukian fought the main event, and like one of them won 17 in a row. The other guy it was 21-1. It was the guy that won the last 3 rounds, but it was close. It could have won either way. Really good either way. It was a good main event.
I did watch Khabib's cousin. I watched that fight. I watched him dry hump that guy for 3 rounds. What was that, man? Like that was a horrible fight.
But he's good. I mean, he's
a good wrestler.
He's a good wrestler. Have you ever went against a guy who was like Dagestani? Have you ever?
No. And I always knew they were supposedly really good wrestlers. Not a lot of heavyweight, big Dagestani guys though. That I knew of anyway. But I did wrestle with Tom Erickson, so you might as well be wrestling somebody who's
right. 100%. Josh Parisian won. He's a big heavyweight. He's like a big dude, and he won his fight. Thiago Moises. I mean, there were some good fights. Chris Curtis won, and I was happy that his coach said to him, because it was one of those fights the guy kept high-fiving in the beginning, right? And he was like, "He's not your friend. Beat him." Right. That's what the coach said, and I was like, "It's about fucking time these coaches said that." I don't understand. Why do you think guys are they just happy? They want to say good. I mean.
I think they just saw Pat Barry and Crow Cop do it back in the day, and they thought it was cool, so they want to do it too. There's a lot of I don't know. I mean, there's a time and a place for it, I guess. Like if 2 guys are, really going at it or whatever, but there's no reason to do it 6 different times in a round. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that was a good punch. Here, get a high five. Stupid, man.
No, and I was happy the coach said something to him though, because it was like, enough is enough. There was this guy TJ Brown lost his fight, which sucks because he came to my show. He fought this guy who looked just like him, an Asian version of him, with the same awesome. Haircut, the same like fake blonde haircut. They looked exactly the same. Cody Durden won. He was the guy that he said, "I'm going to send this guy back to China," and he got in trouble for that.
Sounds like I missed a good card now that you're talking about.
This guy named JP Buys, who I felt bad for him because he had this hot girlfriend who was a fighter. They were married, named Cheyenne. I mean, both they're a young couple, and I guess she left him for her training partner, and he was in the gym too. And then he refused to say they were divorced, but she said divorced on her social media. So,
wait, her training partner, so she left him for a girl?
No, a guy.
Wait, what's she doing?
Another training partner, like another guy in the gym, like another guy, which sucks. I mean, and I think that guy's bigger too, so you can beat the guy up.
I mean, not worse than having your girlfriend taken by someone who could beat you in a fight. The worst.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much half of America for me. But yeah, that does suck. Mario Batista beat Brian Kelleher. He's a guy that just wins one, loses one, wins one, loses one. And then I wanted Kelleher to win. I like the guy. And then Jin Frey, who's the girl who's like the rocket scientist, lost to the girl who was the stripper. But it was close. I thought the rocket scientist won. They gave it to the stripper. And then she jumped in Bisping's arms. she's got to stop doing that. So like last time against Rogan, he's interviewing her and she just jumps in his arms, like literally.
Right.
And like, that's her thing now. And you can tell Bisping, like he's a married guy and, you know, his wife's a really nice lady, but you could tell she was not, I mean, I'm sure she wasn't fucking thrilled. I mean, Bisping was like holding her out like this, like, and she's just like, you know.
I wonder if the rocket scientist jumped in his arms if she'd have cared. It's only because she was a stripper. Like, it seems like, you know, like if it was just the rocket scientist, they'd be like, oh, that girl's sweet. But like if it's a.
Well, I mean, it's almost like the guy's getting Me Too'd. Like at a certain point, they got us to tell her, like, listen, you can't jump in the announcer's arms. I understand it's funny and you're a hot chick, but it's just, you know, like there got to be some professionalism. I mean, can you imagine if the guy just started I know it's not the same as dry humping, but imagine like Megan Olivia's fucking interviewing somebody and he just starts like jumping in, like he'd be kicked out so fucking fast.
Like when you saw when Rampage started dry humping that girl, right, during an interview?
He was like motorboating chicks and stuff. Like,
yeah. He actually a girl started dry humping her, like while she was asking questions, just humping her. That was ridiculous. Right, 100%. I guess, and that was a different time back then. But I don't know. I think it's cute, and I think that she's a fun girl. But someone's just gonna drop her too. I don't even know. Like, it'd be funny if you just moved out of the way and just fell on her fucking head. I have a feeling she'd fall into the splits and be completely fine. Like
yeah, right, 100%. But I could tell Bisping did not like. Bisping probably, you know, he's a married guy and he probably gets so much pussy thrown at him. But he's got like
Bisping seems like the kind of guy to me that would be uncomfortable around any woman. But
he's
like him and Bruce Buffer.
Me and him worked on his one-person show together for like 4 or 5 hours together. Bisping's one of the best fucking dudes. Like one of the nicest, coolest, but just a good fucking dude. Like he's one of those guys that like you'd want your kid to emulate. You know, I know that he was a kind of a prick back in the day, and he'll even admit it. But like, he's not the kind of guy that's gonna like fuck around on his wife or be a dickhead. If he tells you he'll be there, he'll be there. Doesn't give a fuck how much money you have. Doesn't care. He doesn't give a fuck about status or followers or any of that shit. Like Bisping's a fucking
or having 2 eyes. He never cared about having 2 eyes.
You know what's fucking crazy about that? And he told me that I'm sure he probably public now that him and his, you know, he only had like 1 eye for like his last 6 fights or 7 fights.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even get commission, right? So what he would do is he would go and his coach would be in the corner and they'd be like, what figure am I holding up? And he'd be like, if it was 1, he would yawn if it was 2, and he would like sneeze if it was 3. And I was like, man, imagine the guy had like a fucking attack or something, or he started like an allergy attack. He's like 4, 6, 7, 8. But yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, how crazy is that?
He's like, how many fingers are holding up? COVID. He's trying to guess what he's got.
Oh man. So yeah, that was that. So Luke Rockhold recently said that the reason he has had a tough time recently, he says he's sober from alcohol, but he had an abortion. I guess of course my mind goes to like the father was Yoel Romero, but he said. Yeah, he said the girl that he was with had an abortion that like fucked him up, and that he needed some personal time.
Oh, you're being serious? I thought he was joking, like because he said like men can be pregnant or something.
No. He said he was dating a girl who had an abortion, and, or his girlfriend, and that really like he needed like some time away, and that really was a wake up call and this and that. So
yeah.
I mean, Luke's one of those guys, man. A lot of people wouldn't tell you that. They just be like, I mean, he's just one of those dudes. He'll tell you anything.
He was talking to Mitch Rowan one night about, I guess I can say it now, but he was talking about how the Fertittas were trying to rip him off on the Renzo Fertitta on his contract and this and that. And I was just sitting there listening, and I'd never met Luke before or whatever, which I'm a lot older than him, but he stopped and turned in the middle of the conversation and goes, dude, do not put this on the underground. Like said it to me. And I was like, what are you talking about? I said, what? He goes, yeah, you're over there innocent. You've never started any trouble on the underground. I was like, what? Like, dude, that was 10 years ago. And he started laughing because he said when he was in high school, he used to follow my underground threads, which was weird for me that Luke Rockhold was way more famous than me now, but he knew me from the underground back when he was in high school. So
dude, he's like, there was a time that like, I heard he banged this chick who was like, you know, a 10, right? Let's just say she was a 10. and he banged her in front of like a bunch of her friends, and they were like giving him instructions on how to fuck her, which is like do it like while he was fucking her, right?
Right.
So I'm like, there's no way to like. I mean, that's a cool chick, but like what? I mean, that's like some porn shit, you know? Like you see that? I mean, I've done similar things with porn stars back in my heyday, but not like this wasn't a porn star. And and I think I did it once. Anyway, so I asked him, I'm sitting next to him and I'm like, hey, is it true that you banged blah, blah, blah in front of all her friends? He looks at me, he takes a minute and goes, not all her friends.
I'm sure.
I was like, dude, Luke Rockhold is a boss, dude. He's like,
I'll never forget the guy you introduced me to in Las Vegas who told me the first thing he told me is he used to be in porn. I used to be in the porn business. And I was like, really? I said, what capacity? He goes, the best kind. And I was like, oh, okay. It was a little bit weird. But yeah, you told me to be careful with him. And I was like, be careful with him. What? He goes, yeah, he used to like get with like 50 other dudes and jerk off on one girl and thinks he's in the porn business or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
that's not porn business. I mean, I think he's a couple porn films, like regular ones, but like he basically, he's like him and like 30 guys would do like bukkake porn. I'm like,
right.
Well, it's not really porn. That's you sitting around jerking off with your friends.
Right. Yeah. That's one girl away from you being just jerking off with your friends. Like you just remove one person and it gets really gay.
I knew a porn star, T-Real, black guy named T-Real, who told me he would, who's in a movie called, he's doing real movies now, but they're like, one of them is called Crack House of the Dead.
Right.
Anyway, so I'm not
it also could be a porn movie, I think too. It could also be a porn.
What's less respectable, but he told me he would do like double anal with girls, right? So like it's like 2 dicks in 1 asshole, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, bro, isn't that weird having another guy with his hard dick next to your dick? And he's like, dude, it's like sports. You just got to play your position.
It's just like sports, actually. Oh man.
Like I like individual sports. All right. So PFL was last week. You didn't watch that, right?
No.
All right. I'll do a few. I'll just give you up to date. Anthony Pettis lost. He was maybe it was even. He was winning the second. The first round was close. He got caught with a twister, and it was like from the bottom. And it was man, like let me see if I could show it to you. Like it was one of those things where it looked so painful, and it was one of those moves where I was like, man, I don't even know how you even prepare for this. Like here, and the guy wanted to show everyone that it wasn't a fluke because he did it before, and he did it before. He's not even kidding. So he actually did it in like other. Here, look. So this is what happened. Let me see. Oh, I don't think it will work with my because I have a thing on. Hold on. All right, hold on. It was yeah, dude. It was one of those things. It was I was like, man, I kind of felt bad for Anthony Pettis because I don't even know how you even prepare for this. Can you see this?
I think again.
So see how the guy's from bottom, and he locks him up from bottom, and he gets it like that.
Yeah, Lee.
Hold on, I'll show you again. I mean,
I guess that's like a spine manipulation or something, right? Doesn't that do something to your, I guess, the middle of your spine or something? Feels like it's going to pop.
Yeah.
Do that.
And I guess that's like that guy's move, And he said he kind of let Pettis get him down because he knew that was going to be his move and yada, yada, yada. So, I mean,
I guess.
I felt bad. Chris Wade won, the kid from Long Island, and he's a big. I don't know if he's a Trump supporter, but he hates Joe Biden. He's like all in on how much he hates Joe Biden, and he's from Long Island, and he's like,
I think that's like 90% of the country now, though. That's not just Trump supporters. That's almost everybody.
Chris Wade, he beat Kyle Boschnak. That was crazy. Bubba Jenkins won his fight. So now he just fingers. So did Maurice Green had John Jones in his corner. He's the black dude that like likes to knit. He was like drunk on the Ultimate Fighter, but he's a big knitter. He loves knitting.
Wait, what? He's what? I completely heard that wrong at first. I was like,
he's a black heavyweight that was on the Ultimate Fighter that like is obsessed with knitting.
Oh, you said he's a big knitter. Okay, never mind.
Oh, knitter.
Yeah.
No, he knits. I wasn't even, dude. Yeah. So
I swear, I thought that's what you said.
No, he knits. Like he's a sewer.
Okay, with a T, not a G. Okay.
Come on, man. Okay, you out of your mind? So he knits like he clothes and stuff. And he had John Jones in his corner who didn't offer him much advice. You know. Like,
John Jones like, get a designated driver. He's like, what?
Yeah, right. That's a lie. He's telling Jones that.
Right.
Like hide underneath the octagon in case USADA comes. You know, like he's basically like yeah. So, but it was cool. But seeing John Jones in someone's corner, the guy Juan Adams. You ever hear the Juan Adams, the Kraken? He's like another psychopath.
The crackhead? Is that what you said?
He goes by the Kraken. The Kraken's like.
Oh, I thought you said the crackhead. I was like, he's got to be a future champ then. From what I remember us talking about, the old heroin.
No, he's the Kraken. Okay. He had a crazy fight. Went back and forth. If you want to see a good fight, him versus Sam K, or Ki or K. I don't know how you would say it. And then Lance Palmer won. Lance Palmer was the guy that won the tournament. He won $2 million 2 years in a row. Last year he didn't win a fight, and then this year he's back in it. I think he just one of those things where like I don't know what happened. In Bellator, Musasi lost 50-45 across the board. This guy Johnny Eblin, who's like 11-0 or something. He's like a young. I mean, he hasn't that much. He's 12-0 now. He's won every one of his fights. American top team, and he won. This other guy, this is pretty funny. So Danny Sabatello won. He beat Leandro Higo. And let me see if I can find it. Afterwards, this guy, Rufian Stotts, who, let me see, Bellator, he's going to fight him next. And the guy runs in the cage. This is what he says. Let's see if I can find it. It was hilarious. He goes, this is what he said in the thing. He goes,
all I heard was you suck.
So he said you won yourself an ass woman. That shit was terrible. He goes, you suck. That was terrible. Like,
I thought he was going to call out the big knitter.
I'm not even going to make this a thing. Okay. We're not even going to even go here. The guy knits. He sews. Okay. All right. Now, schedule. And I'm not even taking this shit out because it's like, anyway, this week in the PFL, Kayla Harrison, this girl, her fucking life story. So she's a 2-time gold medalist in judo, right? She was molested by her judo coach in high school, who's now in jail for a long time. Thank God. She goes around to schools and like giving speeches to women who've been, sexual, survivors of sexual abuse. She's an amazing person. And now her sister has some kind of problems. I don't know what happened, but she adopted her sister's kids. So now she has 2 kids. So far, I think she's won $2 million with the PFL, and nobody has come close to beating her. Like nobody's even like, no one's won a round against her. She just either smashes people or her last fight, she was pissed. She's like, I sucked. But the girl just came to survive. It was one of those fights where the girl just, her whole goal was to not get fucked up. So she's fighting Caitlin Young, who's born in, she's 36. She goes by the Striking Viking. She's 12-12-1. Taking this fight on short notice for Minnesota. She's a good kickboxer, but I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know how this is going to do. I like Caitlin Young a lot. She's one of those girls when she looks at you, I feel like she could just see through you. Like she looks at you like you can't bullshit her. And she's kind of hot, like a weird, fucked up way. She's like
that's probably the nicest thing anyone's ever said to her. You're kind of hot in a weird, fucked up way.
No, she's pretty. She's hot, like a strange, like she would just break up with you for no reason, kind of a girl.
You're saying she's a very handsome lady? Is that what you're getting at?
No. I'm not saying no. Like she's one of those girls that you wouldn't know why she dumped you. But she's just cool. Anyway, so she's fighting Kayla Harrison this Friday night in the PFL. Ray Cooper the third is fighting Brett Cooper, not related. Ray Cooper is Hawaiian. His dad was a fighter. His dad lost to Jake Shields, but then he beat Jake Shields to avenge the loss of his dad. And then what else is on this card? Then
Michael B. Jordan made a movie about it or something like that. That was like the plot to Creed, wasn't it?
Did I ever tell you like the craziest because I watched Rocky IV like 100 times. Like I love
Right, me too.
And I was writing for the MMA Awards, and Dolph Lundgren was the host, right?
Right.
And like so Dolph comes in and he has all his own jokes, right? But he's not known for like his comedy. So like he watches MMA, but he just kept going on and on about his own, auditions and this and that. And I was like, bro, we gotta shorten this, right? So it was one of those things. So I was like, man, it doesn't matter how bad I do because my wife left me for Flavor Flav, like Bridget Nielsen. Like I was telling him a lot. And then I was like, hey, if you're not laughing, I must break you. Like jokes that like everyone. Right. So then like he's about to go on, and my wife's coming in, and she has the kid, and her first time on an airplane. So Violet's puking everywhere. Okay. And she calls you up. I didn't want to fucking come here. The kid puked all over me. I don't have a dress. I'm like, all right, I got to go. So I'm driving to the airport. The show's about to start. Then I'm getting a phone call. Where are you? Dolph Lundgren needs you. He's nervous. He doesn't want to go out. He needs you to help him. I'm like, I never in my life thought that I'd have the guy from Rocky IV needing me. And then I came back and he was like doing jokes for me and my kid. And then Violet, it was just crazy. And he killed it. And then he actually hired me to like write for him or something else. Yeah, he's a good dude.
I just pictured you as the Russian guy cussing him out before round 15 and 5. Like, our people are cheering for him, you idiot, pushing his face. Like, that'd be awesome.
He actually broke Stallone's ribs, I think.
That's what they say.
Yeah, and I think actually, I also think he was like super. Lundgren was the nicest fucking guy. Like, just a gentleman, and just a good dude. He had a real fight against Igor.
Yeah, that was actually kind of like hurt my childhood memories or whatever, because I saw him fight not Igor, he was fighting oh my gosh, the other Russian guy that was I know who you're talking about. He was one of the first UFCs, the Russian guy, not Vlad, it was not Matashenko. Oh man, I don't know, but yeah, he had a boxing match with him, and he was not exactly Ivan Drago, I'll tell you that. Like in that boxing match, like looked like Ivan Drago in slow motion. It was kind of sad, really. So, I cannot believe I can't remember his name. The guy that he fought.
It wasn't Igor something with a B.
No, it wasn't Volchev. It was. We could look it up. It's. Oh my gosh!
The guy in like the Priceline commercials was with.
He was a guy who was he was like in the Predator 2 or something, I think, or one of those. Maybe it was To Catch a Predator. No. What? Oh man, I'm just gonna look it up. I can't take it. I gotta figure out who it is. But yeah, that boxing match is kind of sad. Really watching.
This week, Israel Adesanya versus Jared Cannonier.
Oleg Taktarov,
right? Did I ever tell you that crazy story about how bad I felt for Uriah Hall?
How bad you fell for him?
Yeah, how bad I felt for him after the award show that year.
No.
So it was that year that Israel won like 10 awards, and I'm sitting there with Uriah Hall at the after party, and everyone keeps coming up to him and congratulating him, like, "Hey man, congrats!" And he's like, "Why is everyone congratulating me?" And I was like, "I think they think that you're Israel Adesanya." Right. He looked so upset, and I was bet. I didn't want to be the guy to tell him that. Like, I'm like,
that's awesome.
It was fucking horrible. I felt terrible for the guy. He's such a nice guy, Uriah Hall. He's such a nice guy. So he's fighting Jared Cannonier. Is everyone overlooking Cannonier? Because I feel like every time everyone's like, this guy's gonna beat Adesanya, whether it be Paulo Costa or somebody, Adesanya just fucking fucks him up. And every time everyone thinks that, oh yeah, it's not even gonna be close, like Kelvin Gastelum, it's a very close fight. Is Cannonier being completely overlooked in this fight?
He is by me, because I don't even care to watch that fight. Honestly, I don't. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Adesanya. Like, I don't like him humping guys during fights and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and just doing I don't know. He's just always got something going on. And he, I don't know. I think the fact that he obviously had, what's it called? Gyno, like was taking steroids and then completely lied about it. Like, I can't stand when people like just blatantly lie about it, like, you know, or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, dude, we all see your boob, like, you know what I mean? Or whatever. Like, you have one titty and one regular chest. Like, that isn't just, and it just showed up overnight and went away. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a big Adesanya fan. So I don't really like to watch him fight anybody.
Do you remember that guy? You know that guy, Eric Alberici? And he's like the trainer of all like Cejudo and the Korean Zombie and Paulo Costa. He's like the little guy with the big glasses.
Oh, yeah.
So he's a friend of mine, but he's always hitting me up. Him and the whole team are hitting me up with like, hey, you have any comebacks for this guy, or you have any tweets? And I help out a lot of guys with their tweets. By helping out, I mean, I just give them the tweets. I don't even charge them. It's like fucking, you know, because it's funny. It's funny when anyway. So it was after the Adesanya fight, and Adesanya literally beat the shit out of Paulo Costa, went like this, and came in the guy's face, like with his like jerked off on his face. And he's like, what do you got for me, man? I need a comeback. I'm like, dude, the guy just beat your guy and came on your face. Like, bro, I'm not really sure how we're gonna come back from this one. Like, I don't have anything, man. Like, a lot of things I can help you with, but like, bro, like he beat your guy and came in your face. Like, what am I gonna say to that?
Yeah, I've got nothing. I'm trying to think. I had nothing. I'm trying to think of something to say back. Nothing, man. I don't know. That's pretty. It is pretty hard to beat.
I told him, I gave him like a left nipple joke because at that point, remember his nipple was going on. Like, you know, I gave him something there, but it was like, it wasn't much back.
He should have just went with the Brendan Schaub punchline. Just be like, what the fuck? Like that. When that's a great. That's an all-purpose punchline. Works for every joke.
No, I always think of your comebacks, man, when you're like, yeah, well, I fucked your dad, because it's one of those things where it's just people like at that point you're like, wait, he fucked my dad? Like it's a whole different level of comedy. Like,
I used to use that one because like not only did I have sex with one of your parents, now your dad's gay, which you had no idea your whole life. You just found out your dad's gay, and I had sex with him. So like you can't there's not much anyone's ever been able to say back to that. So,
Max Holloway and Volkanovski are fighting. The third time, I think it's 2-0 Volkanovski, but I think that Holloway won both of them. Like I think he won these fights, and I think he's gonna win this fight too. I don't know if they're gonna give it to him. I don't know what they have against Max Holloway, why he never wins the close ones, but I think that I think he's gonna win. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. What do you think?
I thought he won. I don't know if I saw both of them. I saw one of them, and I for sure thought he won the one that I saw of the two. I remember losing money on it and being irate. Not just that I lost, but they deserved to win. So Volkanovski just never impressed me that much, man. Like, I don't know. Like, he looked pretty good against Ortega. Like, he surprised me against Ortega, but I just don't. He's talking about moving up to 55. Or was he at 35 or 45? Is it 35, right?
He's at 45.
45, yeah, he's talking about moving up to 155. Like, yeah, move up to 55 and see how that works out for you. Like, he's a small dude for 45. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to do well at 55. So.
I feel like Ortega always chokes in the big ones. Like, he just can't seem to get like, you know, but he bags the hottest chicks. Like his newest one, Tracy Cortez. Jesus, I heard he was with Halle Berry, and and he's like very quiet, unassuming. Like, he's that dude you got to look out for. Like, he's the guy in the corner, says nothing, and leaves with the hot chick, which is not.
I heard he was the guy in the closet at the party, but that's what I'd heard repeatedly from people, but I don't know if that's true. So.
Alex Pereira, he's the guy that beat Israel Adesanya in kickboxing. He's like unbelievable. He's only 5-1 in MMA, but he's a monster in kickboxing. He's fighting Sean Strickland, who is like Colby Covington times 7. I mean,
he's even more offensive than Colby. Yeah,
like he makes Colby like in the middle. I mean, he doesn't give a fuck. This guy. It just he gets kicked off everything, like Instagram, Twitter. And I heard he spars like a maniac. He's been to like 30 gyms. He just wants to go 100% the whole time. But in the fights, he hasn't really he's been winning. I mean, he's 25-3. So obviously, you know, and he beat Jack Hermanson, split decision. He won that fight.
Strickland's 25-3.
He beat Uriah Hall. Yeah, beat Jocko, beat Brandon Allen. The last fight he lost was in May 12th, 2018. So he hasn't lost in over 4 years to Dos Santos, to Zaleski Dos Santos. And then he lost to Usman. Before that, he got beat pretty bad by Usman. Well, 30-26. And then he lost to Ponzinibbio. But that was a different Ponzinibbio than Ponzinibbio has not performed like, you know. I
thought there was actually a different guy named Ponzinibbio. I was like, there's two guys named Ponzinibbio.
No, Ponzinibbio. Yeah, I thought it was going to be like the next big thing. And he's good, but he hasn't.
When he beat Mike Perry, I thought he was going to be really, really good when I watched him fight because he tuned Perry up, didn't he? Didn't he beat him up pretty bad?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. Like Ponzinibbio, because there was a couple fights where I'm like, dude, he's the next. And like, let's see, I think he lost his last. He lost to Michelle Pereira. He lost to Jeff Neal. He lost to Li Jinglang. He lost 3 out of 4. His last 3 out of 4, which is, you know. And then he beat Bubba McDaniel in 2014. By the way, Sean Strickland. So he's 25-3 against this guy who's 5-1, but the dude's a monster in kickboxing. So I don't know. Who do you think wins this?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe they're putting up a guy with 6 fights in with a guy that has 28. That's a little strange to me, but I'll go the guy that beat Adesanya. Like what was his name again?
I'm looking at it right now. It's Alex Pereira or Pereira.
Seems like I've seen him fight. He's only got 6 fights though.
Yeah, but he has a lot in I think in Glory Kickboxing and he's. Let me read some of his stats. I'm excited for this one though, because like those guys, like, you know, those kickboxers are fun, you know, especially when they're like the highest level.
Especially if he can't take him down, it gets real interesting to watch. So
he's a kickboxer. He in kickboxing, he's a Glory middleweight and light heavyweight double champion. He's 34 years old. He's Brazilian. His boxing record is 1-0. His kickboxing record is 33 wins with 7 losses. And then, he beat Dustin Jacoby. He beat a lot of guys. He lost to, he's a fucking monster. He only lost to Artur Kushenko and yada, yada, yada. So, we'll see. If obviously, like, you think Strickland's just going to take him down and hold him, that would be my plan.
Better hope he can. If he outstruck Adesanya, he's a 2-weight Glory champion, you know, or whatever, K1 champion. Like that sounds like a dangerous guy, man. No wonder
he knocked out Adesanya. He knocked him out.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you said he was different, 2 different weight classes, right? In Glory or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got to be a dangerous dude standing up, man. So.
And then Sean O'Malley is fighting Pedro Munoz, who's a 19-7, but you know, he's lost 4 out of 5. Really fucking smart pick by the UFC giving him this guy because it's a name guy, but he lost to Dominic Cruz. He lost to Aldo. He beat Jimmy Rivera. He lost to Frankie Edgar. He lost to Aljamain Sterling. His last big win, aside from Rivera, was Cody Garbrandt in 2019. That was a crazy fight. Cody just put his chin up, his hands down, and just went crazy. I think O'Malley's gonna knock him out. You?
I don't think they would put him in there with him if they didn't think that. If UFC, they're usually pretty good at picking fights. They're trying to turn O'Malley into a star. Why has he not fought Cody Garbrandt? Weren't they trying to fight each other for a while, or did I imagine that?
No, they were, but Cody's just been getting. He's just been getting killed lately.
That seems like exactly up their alley then, though, because they want O'Malley to win. So it seems like they would. It reminds me back when Roger Huerta. I think we talked about that before. How they just kept feeding Roger Huerta first-time guys with perfect styles for him to beat, and he got cocky and was like, "I want to fight somebody real." So they put him in with somebody that murdered him. I can't remember who it was, but it was. He's like, "I'm tired of fighting. I'm not getting any respect. Let me fight somebody good." So I put him as a top 3 guy, and he got his ass kicked. But
it's crazy though, because you look at all his wins, right? O'Malley against Pavia, who's a good fighter, who lost last week but looked good, against Chris Matonio, Thomas Almeida, Marlon Vera, he lost, but that was a weird loss. Eddie Wineland, he knocked out. Quinones, he knocked out. Sakamta, he won. Terrion Ware. He's never fought a wrestler. Like they have not given him one Division III wrestler. They have
will they? They won't either. They're going to keep.
I mean, isn't that kind of wild? Like they've never.
I can never figure out how you get on their team. Like I always said that about the Kennedys. Like, the Kennedys like kill people and just do whatever they want. And they never get in trouble. They can just do whatever they want. Like rape women, kill people. They always get off somehow. Like I always wanted to know how you got on the UFC's good side. Because when me and Matt Mitrione were both in the UFC, I'd give him a hard time. I was like, dude, they serve you up Marcus Jones, who had never fought before, or, never fought in the UFC. Then they give you Kimbo Slice, the biggest name in the sport, who can't fight at all. Then they bring in Tim Hague off of 7 straight losses. They bring him in to give for your 8th fight in the UFC. You know what I mean? I was like, how do you get on that schedule? Because they gave me Hunt and Struve back-to-back for my first 2. You know what I mean? Like that was, and then they wanted me to fight, what's his name? Christian Moorcraft. I didn't want to fight him because nobody knew who he was. And he almost killed Struve when they fought. Like Struve got lucky with the right hand, but before that he was murdering him. And I was like, if I'm gonna get beat up, I'd rather get beat up by somebody with a big name. And they were like, well, how about what's his name? Shane Carwin. I said, okay. Like they thought they were gonna like scare me into saying, oh no, like I said, okay, I'll fight Shane Carwin. And then Carwin wouldn't fight me. They said, well, he said you're not a big enough name. And I'm like, well, I don't blame him. But yeah, I was trying to fight like the bigger name dudes. If I'm going to get beat up, at least by somebody with a name, not some unknown dude.
Carwin, I met him, was one of the coolest guys. I met him at a nightclub. He has the biggest hands I've ever seen. Like his hands. Yeah. And he, there are certain guys that just disappear from the sport. Like disappear. Like Josh Koscheck. Where the fuck is Josh Koscheck? Shane Carwin, Sean Shirk. Like what? Yeah. Like where do they want nothing to do with it anymore, huh?
Sean Shirk, I know he flips houses in Minnesota. I actually hung out with him. This has been years ago, but I hung out with him and his brother-in-law, who was the funniest. His brother-in-law's a British dude. The funniest person by far I've ever met in my life, man. He was so out of control. Like he was completely out of control. Like he fell in a pool in Las Vegas that night, like an indoor pool. Like it was I don't know. He took some guys' crutches that weren't even his and went around acting like he was on crutches. And like was dancing with dudes, like coming up behind him, like freaking on him, or like humping him with crutches. Like I've still got a video of it somewhere, like funniest dude ever. And the next day he was sober and had no personality at all. Like he was like real quiet and didn't say anything. It's just when he was drunk, I guess he's the funniest person alive. Like when he's drunk, but then when he was sober, he was real quiet, reserved, and didn't say anything. It was a weird transformation. So,
but it's crazy. Like what happened to Josh Koscheck? Like what? He was a villain. I mean, people hated him. I mean, I
have a feeling they still hate him. He's just doing something different. Like I feel like he's still.
He would literally like I mean, Colby Covington would walk into an arena, and it was funny because when I watched him fight Usman, it was like everyone was like Usman, and then the lights went down, and they're like Colby. People like didn't want.
Yeah, it's like vote for Trump the first time around. Nobody wanted to admit it in the polls. Like I didn't vote for Trump. Like and then he wins 80% of the vote. So.
But yeah, exactly. But Josh Koscheck, everyone would just boo. I mean, there was no cheers for him. Like literally no cheers. He would walk into an arena and people would just boo him. Like for no. I mean, he was a dick, but he was cocky. But he wasn't any more of a dick than anybody else. I mean, a little bit.
It was different because he was like, he and I were on UFC 124. We were the main event and co-main event. And I was talking about how I pretend to be a dick to try to, get my name out there. And he's like, I'm not even pretending. Like he knows he's a dick, or whatever. Like he's like, I'm not even pretending. It's just who I am. I was like, because I thought he'd be like some real nice guy, like in person, like most of the dudes. But like, no, he's a dick in person too. So.
Well, he got Paul Daly. Well, Paul Daly got himself banned for life for the UFC. Remember he punched Matthew Bell?
Yeah.
But I heard that like Koscheck was calling him the N-word the whole fight. I don't know if that's true. I have no proof of this. Other than like, I think Sam Tripoli.
Maybe he thought he was knitting. And then
maybe Sam Tripoli told me this. I have no idea. I think someone told me that. I don't know if that's true or not. I have to like watch it again. But if that did happen, I could see why he would punch him afterwards. But they should have let Daly back in the UFC after that. He got like, he was done. He was done.
Did you get my joke though? They thought he was doing crochet or something.
I heard it. I actively ignored it. I actively ignored your joke.
I'm just making sure because that was a good joke.
I appreciate you letting me know about the joke. Jalen Turner, he's a guy that was afraid of spiders, and now he has like 87,000 tarantulas. He breeds them because
Naturally.
I don't even know how you do. I mean, how do you get a girl back to your place if you have tarantulas? You got to go like, if you have like thousands of tarantulas in your house. I mean,
I don't know, like $5,000-$10,000 dogs. It's probably a little more expensive than the tarantulas, but that's so he hated spiders, so he bought a bunch of them.
Yeah, he was scared of them, so then he got one to overcome his fear, and then he loved it, and now he breeds tarantulas.
Right.
But who wants them?
Right.
Like, who is he breeding them for? Like, I mean,
other people that are scared of them, I guess, that want to overcome their fears. I don't know.
He's fighting Brad Riddell. That should be a really good fight. Brian Barberena, he's a guy that I think he's from Arizona, and him and his wife lives in Arizona, and they just wanted to get a farm. So they moved to Tennessee and opened up a farm, and didn't know how to do it. So then they had their neighbor teach them how to like run a farm basically. And they have goats and everything and cows, but they said they had to eat some of the cows in the beginning, and then the kids got upset because they were crying because they ate their friends. So now they keep him away or something. But he's fighting Robbie Lawler. That should be a good fight.
I know Lawler's upset or bothered that he's on the prelims for the first time. I think he said, I can't remember when, the first time maybe ever, he said he's on the prelims or something like that in his UFC career or something. Well,
I mean, I kind of understand where he's. Well, first of all, it's on ABC, so I wouldn't even.
The ABC is not really a prelim to me. Like that's.
Yeah, I mean,
that's going to be more viewers than the pay-per-view, probably.
100%. And then also, but I understand what he's saying though, because he's coming off a huge win over Nick Diaz, where he was amazing. You know, like that was. So I could see if he was on like a 3-fight losing streak, and then you put him in the prelims, but he's coming off a big win. So. Hold on, I can't hear you. Your volume went down.
How about now?
Yeah, that was good.
I said, I don't know. Like, I've always been surprised they never tried to do Conor and Robbie Lawler, you know, especially after Lawler said he'd take his soul and all this and that. That'd be the perfect matchup for Conor coming back after the losses he's had. Like, Robbie Lawler would be perfect for him. He's not going to take him down. He's going to stand and strike with him. And Robbie's looks like on the, downward spiral. So that would be, I can't believe they've never even thought of that.
Well, I guess Conor said he accepts. People were saying that Mayweather and him are going to try to do another one. And then Dana White said, I'm nothing to do with that. No, I'm not doing that again.
That would do. They talk about running a well dry like that. That fight wasn't that great the first time. Like that, to do it again would be ridiculous.
Well, Jake Paul's fighting at Madison Square Garden. I don't know if you heard about that. He's fighting Fury. I mean, at least he's fighting a guy that is a boxer, right?
I think Fury pulls out again, man. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll come in with somebody last minute again because Fury, I think, knows he won't beat Jake Paul or doesn't think he'll beat Jake Paul, and he knows that ends his career if he loses to him as a serious pro boxer, So, I think he'll pull out again. He's pulled out like 2 or 3 times already for it,
Do you think his brother would let him take the fight if he thinks he's going to lose? I feel like the brothers.
Yeah, I mean, if they know he's not, I mean, if he can't beat Jake Paul after 7 fights, he's got no future in boxing anyway. You know what I mean? Like he needs to go ahead and give it up anyway, but I think he's like one of these guys, like a lot of them dudes. I used to have an old boxing trainer that told me that we could put me in. He said, as big as I was and as well as I talked on camera, he said, we could have you knock out 25 homeless guys and get you a title shot, you know what I mean? Or whatever, like with boxing, just build a big record up. And then he's like a big white heavyweight that talks like you do, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know why you got to bring the fact I'm white into it, but it's whatever. But yeah, I used to say that all the time. Like if you just build up get anybody 25 wins and if they look good physically and, can talk trash or whatever, he said they can get a title shot. So I don't know.
Crazy is that like that Fury, like he got the good looking genes, but the bad skills.
Yeah, it is like life is fair than it isn't fair because it's like he didn't get a bit of his brother's fighting ability, but as far as the looks and stuff, are they full blooded? They can't have.
No, I think they're I think they're stepbrothers or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say they can't be full blooded for sure. Like Tyson's dad had to be like a 9-foot tall troll or something. Like
oh my god,
there's
that guy. The other kid could be a model,
right?
So Donald Cerrone and Jim Miller are also fighting on this card. This is all this Saturday. I don't know who wins this fight because I feel like Donald Cerrone, if he thinks he can win, he'll win.
Right.
I've never seen a more head case of a fighter. Almost sad in some ways, like because I think he's 36-16. I think at least 10 of those fights he could have won. He could have been 46 and 6 right now.
Yeah, could have or should have won. Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah. He breaks. I would say he breaks mentally easily, but he does when first time I ever saw him break was against Nate Diaz. Man, like if Nate pieced him up the first round and was flipping him off between rounds, and you could just see he'd already lost. He's just waiting for the end. Same thing with Connor. As soon as Connor hit him with a shoulder in the nose, he's done. Like it's a weird thing, man. I don't know.
Uriah Hall is fighting Andre Muniz. This guy Muniz is really good. He beat Eric Anders by armbar in the first round. He beat Jacare armbar in the first round. He beat the other guy, Fabinski, armbar first round. His last 3 fights, armbar first round.
Good news is, even if he loses, he can just pretend to be Stylebender after the event. And either way, he'll get congratulated by.
He's fighting Uriah Hall, another guy who's a complete fucking head case. Like, I never saw a guy like take off the first 3 rounds in a 5-round or first 2 rounds. Then the guy goes, "Well, you fucking win," and then he just goes out and flying knees the guy, and it's over. Like,
right?
I mean, there are times I'm coaching kids, and my other coach is yelling something, and I'm like, "Hey, stop! Don't yell anything. He's gonna do something completely stupid, but it's gonna work for him, and he's gonna win." And then the kid just throws some fucking thing that like we didn't teach, and puts the kid on his back and wins. I'm like, there's just some people that it's like you don't know what to do. Jessica I versus Macy Barber. She's the one that was I think everyone got mad at her because she was like how to get a blue belt online and like taught a course or something. And then she lost to Roxanne Modafari, but I think tore her ACL, and her dad said she really won. And then she went to Team Alpha Male, and she's like kind of hot. And she's fighting Jessica I, who everyone hates for some reason. I don't know why. I mean,
they went to Team Alpha Male because she wanted to be the biggest, strongest person in the room, training room for once. Like, I'm tired of training with people bigger and stronger than me. I'll go to Alpha Male, and we'll. That was always the most ironic name for me for a gym ever. It's the smallest guys. Like, usually the Alpha Male is the biggest, strongest, not the smallest and cutest. Like,
dude, but those guys party, man. I remember after Chad Mendez lost to Conor McGregor, I went to the Alpha Male party, and I thought it was going to be all depressed. The guy from Stain was there, by the way, who there's a video of him having meltdowns because he became a country singer. And
what? So he melted down because he became a country singer?
Dude, his country songs are not good. I'm sorry. He has one song called That Ain't Country, and he just puts down everything that's not country. Like the whole song. So
he has a country song called That Ain't Country. Is he talking about his own songs?
He'll be like, yeah, like fucking, wearing leather jackets and sunglasses. That ain't country. I mean, whatever it is. He's like, rap music. That ain't country. It's the dumbest.
Right. Because there's a lot of rappers that are out there claiming to be country. So so he's up there, and there's a video. There's like a 10-minute compilation of him flipping out on the crowds on YouTube. The guy Aaron, his name is Aaron something. Aaron
Lewis compilation. Yeah. Him going, "Fuck you, mother." Dude, I went to his concert by accident. Like I did a show, and like next door he was playing. Like,
you were there. This is a country.
Yeah.
Like,
so I do the show, and they're like, the guy from Aaron Lewis is here. So I go next door. Like, it was an hour of people sitting around talking, like no one paying attention while he's singing country songs. And then he sings the fucking Stain songs, and everyone shuts up and like goes crazy. I'm like, this fucking poor guy. Like, he does not want to do the Stain songs. Nobody wants to hear his country songs. And
it's like the one-hit wonders that refuse to play their one hit at their concerts. Like, no, we got other stuff. Like, dude,
you
only can hear the one song.
I saw Vanilla Ice in Calgary. I don't know if people are paying him, but he lets everyone jump on stage. He literally is up stage with like 25 people from the crowd. I'm like, I don't want to see these fucking assholes dance to your songs and sing along with them. And then he's taking selfies while singing Ice Ice Baby. I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Like, yeah, it was.
So I guess he's not flipping houses in Palm Beach anymore, huh? Like he's back on the tour.
Have you seen dude, I had tickets to go see Motley Crue. I had to sell them. I'm so happy I didn't see Motley Crue, Poison, and Def Leppard and Joan Jett, because like Poison is doing great. Like the guy's in shape, Bret Michaels, Def Leppard. Vince Neil goes out there. And I went to go see, I went to the Hair Metal Festival and with my wife. who was like the youngest person by 30 years there. The people like, but like I thought he was gonna have a heart attack like within 12 seconds. Vince Neil comes out there, he looks like Ron Jeremy, but like, and he can't get through. He's like, he just does like every other line. He's like, like he doesn't even.
He made the crowd sing.
Makes the crowd sing. Sings like 3 words out of the whole chorus, and then he's fat as fuck. He's wearing like a cape, you know, or like a football jersey, and it looks like he has pads on. That's how fucking fat.
Why is he wearing a cape? Like a barber's cape?
Dude, he had a fucking cape on, bro, and he can't sing at all, and he's out of breath. He had 3 years to come up with this fucking to get in shape for this. 3 years.
Right.
He didn't go on a diet for 3 fucking years. And now, if you look on TikTok, you look up Vince Neil, dude. Every one of these comments is like, "We're all gonna die soon." Like, I feel old. And then they're making fun of his like songs. Like, it's not girls, girls, girls. It's grills, grills, grills. Like, everyone is like, "Don't go away, mad. Just go away." Like, it's just. One,
they're like, "This isn't country." I'm like, wait, what?
Dude, it's so sad. Like, they're calling him Vince Neil, you know, it's just it's one thing after another. But yeah, dude, like
that's awesome.
No, I mean, if you had 3 years to prepare for a concert, like why would you just get a trainer like for an hour a day? An hour a day.
He was like, he had a VH1 show called Remaking Vince Neil. And it's like in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. Where you remember the guy that wrote the songs for him? The guy that he wrote a song. He's a real famous song producer, Desmond Child, I think his name is. But that guy's like too good to be true, man. Like he's like trying to get Vince Neil to freak out in the studio or whatever. Like, how hard can I push you? Like, it's you got to watch it. You watch it it's on YouTube. It's the funniest thing ever. That Desmond Child guy's the funniest.
Is that when he gets all like surgery on his face and stuff?
Yeah, he gets like, he's doing a concert, so he gets plastic surgery and he gets his hair dyed and he tries to get in shape. And then they wrote a song called Promise Me, I think, or whatever, like, or something like that. It's it's awesome. It was a hilarious mini documentary.
They did one with Vanilla Ice on that too, and he refused to do anything.
Right.
He's like, "I'm not changing for shit." They're like, "Well, why are you on the show?"
Right. On a show called Remaking Vanilla Ice, and he's not agreeing to be remade.
No, it was ridiculous. So Jessie Jess is on this card too. She's like the hot chick that was like, she was dating some fucking asshole that was like, he had like face tattoos, and he was like, he beat her up, and she head kicked him and knocked him out from Australia. And then she
kicked him all the way from Australia. It's a hell of a kick.
Well, anyway, that was a long time ago. I don't know why I brought that up. But she's doing great. She's like fit, and she found a good team because she was going from team to team to team. Hot. I mean, a hot chick. She breaks a lot of hearts. She has Heartbreaker in her fucking in her bio. So
she's the exact opposite of Vince Neil, you're saying. She's done the exact opposite of her life.
Dude, it's sad. Like, I had to show my wife what he used to look like, because you didn't understand why I was so depressed after watching this. I'm like,
I told you I saw Tommy Lee at a UFC at a VIP area, right? And I told him I loved him in The Fugitive, and he didn't like it, right? Like,
oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I said, "Dude, I loved your work in the movie The Fugitive. That was awesome." It's like, "Sweet, bro." Like, he had no idea what I was talking about.
I told you he tried to light the girl's tits on fire, right, at the time.
No, but that's awesome.
Yeah, I was at Porn Star Karaoke in like the Valley, and it was like right when that song, like, well, what's that song by Christina Aguilera, Dirty, came out, and these porn stars were fucking going crazy, like making out with each other and giving her lap dances, and I'm sitting there, and Ron Jeremy's like right next to me, and then like Be Real from Cypress Hill, and all of a sudden Tommy Lee walks in, like, I don't know. Oh, and then it was like the guys from Survivor were always there, like the guys who sing the whole Rocky soundtrack. You know, like Rising Up, Eye of the Tiger. Yeah. They always like went there and then sang not Warrant, they sang Journey, and people knew them, but not really. Anyway, so Tommy Lee shows up. Like, he got like the bat signal. There was like whores going crazy and right? So he sits down and he's like looking at these girls, and some chick comes up and she goes, "Tommy, look at my tits," and just flashes her tits, right? And then Tommy takes a lighter and he's like, and starts to light the girl's fucking nipple on fire, right? And
naturally,
it's just an awkward fucking pause, and she's like, okay, and then walked away, and that was it.
Right. Luckily, silicone's not flammable. That could have been bad news if it had been. But I heard Ron Jeremy's a hell of a stand-up comedian.
Oh, he's in jail now for like
Yeah.
rape. He fucking like raped like 20 girls back in the day.
That's what they said. Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
He was doing stand-up though for a while, wasn't he?
He was doing stand-up. He wasn't very good. He would show up to like, dude, he would show up to sets. Like I did an indie film with him or something, some kind of stupid, not even indie film pilot. And he would come to sets, right? And then you'd be eating your salad and he'd put his hand in your food and start eating it. And then you're like, it's your food now. Like, I'm not eating this shit anymore. Like I know where those hands have been, you know?
Oh yeah.
He would tell me girls at like, after his shows, he would do like signings and stuff or like appearances. They'd be a line of girls. And this is like true. Cause I know a guy that said it was true. They just wanted to see if he could fit in them, just to put his dick in there. To be like Ron Jeremy could fit in my vagina.
Right.
Not like all of him, like his dick, you know? It was
right.
Crazy.
If Ron Jeremy can fit in your vagina, he got bigger problems than
it was fucking crazy.
Anybody knows.
Yeah. It was fucking crazy. Anyway, what do you got coming up, Sean?
I got nothing. I'm literally trying to get my house finished up to refinance it because interest rates are fabulous right now. Trying to do that. And dude, I might as well have a farm even though I don't have a farm. Like I need to get my neighbor to teach me how to have one because it's a night. I don't know. We got 20 acres, man. I find myself mowing grass about 25 hours a week right now. And I'm doing it for free. Like at least before when I was a teenager, I was getting paid to do it. We had our first litter of puppies. So my puppy mill's up and running. So they're 3 weeks old. Hopefully I'll be able to start selling them here in a couple of weeks. But I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks, I should be ready to go home with somebody. I'm just hoping several people have $5,000 to $10,000. So if not, I'll end up selling them for like $500 and like regret it. You never know. So we'll see.
Well, you're the best. I'm in Vegas all week at the LA Comedy Club. Next week, I'm in Miami, Florida, as well as Off the Hook Comedy Club in Naples. It's all on AdamHunterComedy.com. Sean, you're the best. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. See you, buddy.
Take